My name is Ross Gray.
And I'm Ryan Bourne.
And this is The Social Skin, brought to you by Cloud Campaign. Cloud Campaign is the easiest way to manage social media. So this week we have quite a few stories, but our top one, and one that has really set the internet ablaze, is that Twitter is now allowing for chronological feeds again.
Finally, Twitter listens to their followers and their users. That's awesome. I feel like that's something that people have been asking for a very long time. So it's great that they're listening and adding the option to switch back to that.
Yeah, I mean, they even said that they have tried to perfect the feed the way it is, but that they have listened to their audience who have been consistently asking for the chronological feed. So now users are going to be able to toggle on and off the algorithmic feed, and once off, it will revert back to the reverse chronological order.
The reality is everyone's going to have a preference, right? Like there's no way you're going to be able to satisfy everyone, especially when you have hundreds of millions of users. And so I think the more options you can give people, or the easier you can make it to kind of configure your own, your own settings, how you like it, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So the company statement read, "We've learned that when showing the best tweets first, people find Twitter more relevant and useful. However, we've heard feedback from people who at times prefer to see most recent tweets."
I think it just depends on what state you're in. Social media can be a huge time suck, and it seems like that is a problem that a lot of the other social networks have been trying to tackle. Like with Instagram telling you when you're all cut up, and Facebook doing something similar where they're kind of giving you the option to show it more chronological. It seems like by allowing this option to just show the most recent tweets first, Twitter's allowing you to quickly see once you've seen all the relevant tweets, so you can just close the app and go back to doing whatever you were doing. Yeah,
absolutely. So our next story is that YouTube is rolling out vertical video ads. Something that I didn't know, and I have the stat here somewhere in front of me, but something like 80% of all YouTube videos are watched mobilely. Did you know that? Or 70%. 70% of all YouTube videos are consumed on mobile devices.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't realize that. That was actually something I was about to ask when you mentioned that they rolled out vertical video ads. That makes sense, though. I mean, everyone's on the move, and it's a good way to pass the time if you're on the bus or, taking the train or something like that. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what the company said. They're just trying to stay on trend. They released a case study from one company, I believe, that said that they had 33% uplift in brand awareness and 12% uptick in purchase consideration from the vertical video ads, because obviously they're more suited for the mobile devices.
I really hate both of those metrics, brand awareness and purchase consideration. What's purchase consideration? They thought about buying it, but they haven't bought it yet. So they're 12% uptick in that. It just seems like so arbitrary to measure. So not really the point of this, but.
No, it's true. Our next story is also from YouTube, and that is that they are releasing approved channels. So now it will basically give you kind of an age score next to different channels, so that parents have a better idea of, what is appropriate for different age groups. And it also is going to give a parents approved section, which will enable parents to select or omit specific channels.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah, I always see out in public, I always see kids just glued to their parents' phones or tablets. And so making it more kid-friendly seems like a really smart idea. And Google's done this with other parts of their business. I guess I should say Alphabet is now the parent company. But, with Google Play, if you're downloading apps and whatnot, you can filter by age group. And so it makes sense for them to kind of do something similar with YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very similar to what the post was we wrote about last week with Instagram. There's definitely a push for platforms to give parents a little bit more control and be able to shelter their kids a little bit better online. Our next story is from Facebook, and that is that they're releasing new ad tools ahead of the holidays. So according to their post, there was more than 450 million views of Black Friday and other holiday related, shopping videos during the Thanksgiving weekend. So they're trying to allow advertisers to take advantage of that in an easier way by giving different templates and frames that they can throw into their ads in a pretty easy to use way.
That's a crazy number, 450 million views just within that one weekend.
Yeah.
That's also sort of depressing, right? Isn't that the time when everyone's supposed to be like with their family enjoying Thanksgiving, yet everyone's just on their phones on Facebook?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like when you see the people that, mow down other people in a Walmart right after they're thankful for what they had, at dinner.
Yeah. That's terrible. But no, great that Facebook's constantly adding more tools and making it a lot easier for your average marketer to advertise on their platform. Yeah, I mean, like what we've seen is, people like interactive content, engaging content, videos outperform static images. So the easier Facebook makes it for marketers to advertise, the more people are going to be willing to use the platform and hopefully see better results.
Yeah, absolutely. And our next story, and one that you will probably understand better than I will, is that Facebook has deployed a new machine learning system named Rosetta to better understand text on images. They're saying that this is vital for improving experiences for relevant photo search, or the incorporation of text into screen readers for the visually impaired. They also said it's helpful for them to be able to weed out, potentially inappropriate or harmful content. They released an entire how to the ins and outs of the system that I didn't understand. There's a link to it in our article, but it's pretty interesting.
I wonder what this means for ad creatives, because previously you couldn't really run a Facebook ad if it had too much text in it for that sole reason, right? They couldn't like manually audit every single image that someone published, and so they obviously use machines to do it. But with the Rosetta, they might be able to automate a majority of the process and be able to flag things, programmatically. So hopefully this will open up the possibility to then promote, more content, more ad creatives that have text in it.
Yeah, no, that seems like an interesting use case. Our next story is also from Facebook, and that is that they're expanding placement controls. This is something that I didn't understand from the very beginning. So now they got a lot of flack from advertisers being unhappy with their ad maybe showing up alongside very controversial material. So they're adding new features which will allow advertisers to restrict it from certain pages, as well as get more information as to where their ads are showing up.
Interesting. So when you say specific places, like more of like audience network, like not actually on the Facebook timeline, like partner apps and stuff that Facebook advertises through?
So the new features will include, it said, a block list to remove specific publishers and apps from ad delivery, and the ability to exclude brand-sensitive content categories from ads across Facebook, in-stream videos, instant articles, and audience network. So it's actually for the advertisers as well as for maybe those who are writing articles and whatnot.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, ultimately, it comes back to just giving the marketer, the advertiser, more control, which is obviously great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm going to dive into more a LinkedIn, who had a very busy week. A lot of stories coming out of LinkedIn. The first one is that they're really taking aim at fake accounts. They provided one just quick graphic which showed that they blocked 5 million fake attempts in a single day.
That's absolutely insane. That's crazy. So that's people that are trying to make new accounts.
Yeah. So what they said is that the new machine learning system that they're using will calculate an abuse risk score, which I'm not exactly sure how they calculate, but it will. And then depending on the score, if it's low, they will just allow someone to register right away. If it's higher, they may be prevented from opening an account. And a lot of this is because there seems to be an influx of fake accounts being added to the platform.
Yeah, it's great that's great that they're curbing it before the fake accounts even have a chance to, do anything on the platform, right? Because like we've seen, like the other social platforms make a strong push to remove fake accounts, but that's really retroactive. So a lot of times the harm has already been done, where they're posting abusive content or, maybe graphic content, like versus with LinkedIn blocking it when they're trying to create the account. Those fake accounts haven't even had a chance to get on to the platform yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And so our next story from LinkedIn is that they're releasing in-flight learning courses. So they've partnered up with Delta, Emirates, Cathay Pacific, Turkish Airlines, and Alaska Airlines to provide free in-flight learning courses. So users will be able to access the LinkedIn Learning Library, where they can choose from thousands of courses taught by a wide range of experts.
That seems so random. Like, I don't know. I'm curious, like, who within LinkedIn was like, we need to partner with airlines to provide our service in the air. That's awesome, though. I mean, it's a great way to pass time, much more productive. So it's really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a good, it seems like as long as you're stuck on a plane, why not spend your time doing something like this, and that way you don't have to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's awesome.
Another story from LinkedIn is that they have released new groups experience. So this is just, they're allowing it for users to have an easier way to talk with other professionals about specific industry trends, stay connected with fellow alumni, as they said, plan networking events, and discuss other pertinent topics.
Did they mention exactly like what changed within groups?
Yeah, so it says that new features will allow users to record and share videos and messages from anywhere on the site. They can also now see when their connections are online. And they've also changed a handful of other things. They've made it easier to navigate to groups. They've made it easier to keep conversations going from a LinkedIn feed. So now that's why you see the messenger pretty much everywhere. And also they've made it easier to discover new groups which match your interests.
Very cool. I wonder if that is going to be reflected at all in API changes in the future. Because right now groups are pretty locked down in terms of using a third-party app, but that'd be great if they allowed access at some point.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would make sense. It's an interesting case. Our next story from LinkedIn is that they're releasing dynamic ads directly into Campaign Manager. Obviously, for what we do, we are really excited about being able to stay dynamic. So I'm not exactly sure what these ads are going to look like. The company's statement said, personalization is now simpler than ever. Build your creative and write your ad copy once, and LinkedIn takes care of the rest by automatically personalizing your campaign for each person you target. You can add macros, data mapping tools for even greater customization capabilities.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I mean, we've seen through our platform, just with organic marketing on social media, 89% higher engagement rate through dynamically created content. And so the fact that they're now adding this into ads makes a lot of sense. Did they mention whether you can do it with, promoted timeline posts, or if it's only side banner ads?
I didn't see that in the article. It's definitely something worth looking into. They did say that you can personalize the ads with each member's profile info, such as their photo, first name, company, and job title.
Ads are going to get much, much creepier now.
Yeah. Once I saw photos, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Crazy. Cool. Well, that's exciting. Definitely something to try out.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next story is that Twitter is now allowing users to pin live feed streams. So if you follow an account and they start live streaming, it will pin that video to the top of your newsfeed.
Why does it sound so strangely familiar? Almost like live Instagram videos or stories on Facebook or Snapchat.
Yeah. I think all these platforms do now is just copy each other, just constantly back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, Instagram has 1 billion users for stories. Let's just add something that's vaguely familiar and almost the same, but let's rebrand it as something else.
And in our final story, and probably the least exciting one of the day, Instagram is replacing the stars with flags. So this is when you are trying to mark something as I want to look at it later. It used to be a little bit of a star that was in the corner that you can mark it with. Now it's a flag. So it's all very exciting.
Huge updates going on over at Instagram. They're staying really busy.
That's right. So on that note, that's it for this week. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for the most up-to-date social media news. Find us on iTunes and wherever else podcasts live.
And while you're there, go ahead and leave us a quick review. Whether you like the show or not, it helps us make each episode better every week moving forward. So we appreciate it, and we read every single one of them.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.
This show is brought to you by Cloud Campaign, commentary by Ross Gray and Ryan Bourne, original music produced by Daniel Rosenfeld, and extended version composed by Discovered. See you next week for another episode of The Social Skim.